Okay, so hey everybody. So what we're looking at now, I went ahead and filled in these other ones real quick because they were exactly the same. So I'll talk you through it real quick. So event profile, we're pulling our data down to our getters, right? We're passing in our URL. Sorry, I'll have to close that in a few minutes. But then we're doing the call. We're passing username and password, right? So authentication. We're doing this because of this certificate. Then we're getting back the XML as a decoder. We're using this cool little tool called XML to dictionary. We're parsing it. Again, if you know a dictionary in Python, it's pretty much a JSON. Now we're talking about basics, right? There are some advanced that wouldn't match, but for the most case. So then we dump it to a JSON and we actually write it out to a file. And then what we do is we create a blank pandas data frame. Again, if you don't know what that is, it's definitely worth the time to look it up. I'd hate to say if you don't know what it is, cut that. But if you don't know what that is, then it's a huge thing that I use all the time for Python. So what we do, think of it as like a CSV in our case here, because what we're going to do is we're actually going through here, we're getting the data from the JSON that we want, right? And we're just writing those to a dictionary. And I'll probably do a recap again towards the end, but then I'm writing this out to a CSV file. And the same thing with all these others. They're all exactly the same. The methods are exactly the same. The calls are exactly the same. The only thing I did different here was obviously this information's different. This is actually one we did together because here's this information. But if you look at it like this, these, that one, this one, and devices are all the same except what is being pulled back in the JSON file. And I'm returning these data frames. Now, I'm not doing anything with the data frames. I'm just returning them. So let's watch it run real quick, and you'll see it happen. So I'm just going to run it. I'm not even debug it. Give it a few minutes. And of course that errors. So let's do debug, see what happens. Okay, so this is one. Okay, actually, you know what? It did finish. This is just our other logging. So let's go ahead and go to our data, and I'm going to go open this up into a file. Oops, not finding files. I'm sorry. Let's open it up in a Finder. Here's our data. So again, if I look at devices, here's our devices. Okay. If I look at devices JSON, that pulls up over here. Okay. Now that's if the user wants to look at this and say, hey, you know what? We want this field also. It kind of gives you a basic for that. But let's go ahead and look at rules. Okay. There's our rules. And then profiles. Okay. So I'm going to cut again here. I will come back and we will do Spectrum after this, and then that will pretty much be the end of it. The reason I did this one, just went ahead and did it, is number one, it's off script, is because they're pretty much done the same at this point. Again, other than the data that you pull back. Now, with seeing that Spectrum is completely different, so we'll come back and do it in a few minutes.